More
I got a
soap
lot to say
opera.
about this. I got a lot of there's a lot I can say about this. But so a couple days ago, LeBron James went on the Pat McAfee show. This came out of nowhere, a surprise. He did an hour-long interview with Pat McAfee, and I watched almost the entirety of the interview. I enjoyed it. He was very, I would say, he revealed a lot. He was very open in the conversation. I was a bit shocked because he's more reserved in certain instances, even on his own podcast, even on podcasts with Shannon Fry and Richard Jefferson, he doesn't reveal a whole much. So for him to be this open, to be this vulnerable, was a shock. So LeBron went on a podcast. I'm gonna keep it towards the media type of thing because he said a bunch of other stuff as well. He brought up Stephen A. He said that one, he's on a Taylor Swift line, and two, that he missed the point of what he was trying to say to Stephen A. The whole thing about one, protecting his household, two, protecting the players, and him saying that pretty much it was personal. That is it. We're talking basketball. Why are you being personal? Mm-hmm. And that's the whole Stephen A. point. And he said, yo, chill out, dude. I didn't find any offense with what he was saying. I don't know why anybody would be offended by what he was saying. And then the other thing was about Brian Windhorst, where he's saying, yo, this dude tried to act like he's my friend. He's weird and stuff like that. And people took offense to that one. We'll get to that a little bit later. But to the Stephen A. point. So Stephen A. next day, matter of fact, no, he went on his podcast. He went on his podcast and talked about it. Was that where he talked about if LeBron would have put his hands on him, he would have swung on him, but I would have had to get my ass whooped because I would have swung on him. So that was the podcast where he said that. Next day, he went on First Take and continued to address it, and it was very uncomfortable. I ain't gonna lie. I watched. I think they had like 3 segments on it.
Jesus.
Yes. First segment was just Stephen A. and he called LeBron petty because of the Instagram post.
With the boxing.
I just find that's
funny to me.
I just think Stephen A. is a hypocrite because, again, him and Skip were trolling LeBron for how many years?
Bro, Skip came into the studio First Take with the jersey and a brick in his hand with the headband so he could.
And Stephen A. had no problem with it.
Yeah.
So you were trolling LeBron for over a decade, and now that the rabbit has the gun, you have a problem with it. I just find that interesting with this guy. But like I remember when LeBron, after they lost to the Warriors, he posted a video on either, I want to say it was either Twitter or Instagram. He was bald headed singing T Grizzly lyrics. Yeah. And Stephen A was like, I don't want to see you. Why are you posting videos? It's like, my man, he's living life. Yeah. Like, he can't live life. Not everything revolves around basketball. So that's what I'm saying about the trolling aspect of it all. So then after he calls him petty, he called him a snake. He said that he would stab you in the back. And then the most egregious thing that Stephen A. brought up was the fact that he said LeBron wasn't at Kobe's memorial. And then later on, he said that I didn't mean that he was at the memorial because I got word that he was at the memorial, but he didn't want to be shown on camera. And he said, I'll let LeBron tell y'all why he didn't want to be shown on camera. It's like, because you're just reaching for thin air. You're just reaching for thin air at that point. But then after that, he talked about how LeBron wasn't at Dwayne Wade's statue ceremony. Mm-hmm. When 2 weeks prior, Bronny James, I think he had the little heart issue. Yeah. He went into surgery and stuff like that. So, yeah, of course, he's going to be by his son's side after a traumatic situation happened. He doesn't want to leave his son's side because His son almost died. He went into cardiac arrest. And the fact that he recovered and he's back to doing normal activities at all, I saw something where 90% of people that go into cardiac arrest either die or come out of it not the same. Mm-hmm. So for Bronny James to this is a story that should be reported and that should be applauded about Bronny James, but nobody wants to talk about it because they want to talk about nepotism baby. But Bronny James, the fact that he is still playing professional basketball and he's still able to function the way that he was even before the incident is just a heroic story that we should all applaud. It's a miracle, but nobody wants to talk about it. Regardless, he talks about that, and then I want to say Kendrick Perkins, Brian Windhorst comes through. Brian Windhorst, although LeBron did throw shade at him, he was still respectful, and I will say Brian Windhorst, out of all the media people, out of all the NBA media people, he gets my respect. Despite, although that comment he made about LeBron weeks ago, it was like, all right, bro. But he still gets my respect because he keeps it professional. Mm-hmm. Kendrick Perkins, on the other hand,
you've been a weirdo.
This is why. Okay, a week ago, I believe we talked about Kendrick Perkins. I said, yo, I'm not the biggest fan of Kendrick Perkins. We talking about Charles Barkley and everything, but I can say that he watches the game. Because his analysis, you can tell he watched the game. This right here, he is completely wrong. Because if you remember, because Kendrick Perkins talked about, LeBron unfollowed me, so I blocked him back. If you remember last year, why did LeBron unfollow him? It's because on Mind the Game, LeBron was talking about Kyrie. He was like, man, I wish, because first he was applauding Kyrie for being great, playing with Luka, making it to the finals. And then LeBron was like, man, I wish I was still his teammate. And Kendrick Perkins went on ESPN and said, see, here we go again. LeBron making it about himself. LeBron, this is not your moment. Yeah, he said that. So he's trying to paint LeBron like, he's selfish. He always trying to make it about him. Hell yeah, I would unfollow him. Hell yeah, I would not be cool with him anymore. What? That's where it gets personal. And see, this is where people like Kendrick Perkins, people like Stephen A, those type of people, they lack so much self-awareness. They lack so much accountability on themselves because they believe that they're always the victim. They believe that they can do nothing wrong. That LeBron is the crazy one. LeBron is the guy that is always at fault when it comes to these situations. When they don't look themselves in the mirror. They ain't listen to that Michael Jackson song. What was it? Man in the Mirror. They need to listen to that song again. Because if you think that LeBron James would just unfollow you for some petty reason, you're wrong. You made it personal. Any other time, if you're criticizing his basketball ability, by all means. But it seems like these guys don't know how to separate when it's personal to just simple basketball criticism. They think it goes hand in hand when that's not the case. So I bring those things up to get to who looks worse in this situation between LeBron and Stephen A, in your opinion.
Let me think about this for a second. I'm going to go with, obviously, Stephen A. This man has been, he making ESPN a lot of money. I say that he earning that contract, that however many $1 million a year. He got that contract extension and got the work. You get me? But Stephen A. Smith he's going outside. He's low key crashing out at this point. Like he's just saying stuff that you would think of or maybe formerly well respected at this point, member of the national media wouldn't do. Like journalists back in the day wasn't doing stuff like this, especially on national TV.
No.
Nowadays, like this is like WWE shoot style promos. At this point, they're not even pretending. This is a real shoot, and this is just like wow, what in the world is going on? Like this is just crazy. And even Shannon Sharp was like Stephen A. just dropped it. Just drop. Even your man that you vouch for to bring on ESPN is kind of telling you like you need to relax, like you crashing. And it's just a sad sight to see. As far as Kendrick Perkins, he's been a
crybaby,
interesting fellow to say the least. And like I said, Brian Windhorst, he kept it respectful. So he still says he owes LeBron a lot for his career and all that stuff. So W high road, I guess. But Stephen A, you cook your barbecue chicken, buddy. The scenario, you already went out sad in person. You made it even worse hopping on multiple platforms talking about it, and it's still going like, bro,
just relax. Like LeBron said, just relax. And LeBron didn't say anything that should have him feeling like he should come out here and be personal and being loud. LeBron looks like the more mature person.
And you know what I think it is? I think Stephen A has, for so many years, he's felt like he's Teflon because he's been saying all these things about the players and no one really checked him about it. But now that the top star in the league is like really checking him about it, he probably feels like his position is being challenged. And he's like going the extra mile to prove I'm still Stephen A. I'm still. So I think it's more like his ego is more hurt than anything. So now he's like scrambling, trying to protect that image that he's built over the years of I'm Stephen A. This is ESPN. This is my stuff. No one's going to talk to me about what I can say on there. Now someone checked him about it, and he looked like a timid mouse. Now all of a sudden, oh man, he a snake. He this. They're like, dang, how did he snake you? All he did was tell you that, like, leave my son alone, leave my son out of this stuff, and stop getting personal with your sports critiques. How was that snake behavior? You act like he told you to say that stuff, then wanted to check you. This ain't WWE.
Right. I never seen him more flustered than Friday. Yeah. I was complete, like, not Friday, it was Thursday. Because I was watching it and I was like, wow, LeBron really got this man in his feelings. Because he was reaching for thin air. A lot of the stuff he was saying, it just didn't make any logical sense. It just felt like you were reaching at that point.
He really was really like the whole Kobe Memorial thing.
And then the Michael Jordan thing. He brought up the fact that he was like, because he was saying like, oh, are you mad because I don't have you as the GOAT and that I believe MJ is the GOAT? That's just reaching for thin air.
NBA Twitter level analysis
that's just reaching for thin air at that point.
That is NBA Twitter analysis. Random account, 15 followers with Jordan as the profile picture level analysis. That's so silly to hear from somebody that's supposed to be a top journalist in the sports world. That is ridiculous. Then the whole he ain't do no research before getting up there saying he wasn't at Kobe's memorial. Then he ain't get no further context about why he wasn't at D Wade's trophy ceremony or whatever. It's just that he just went on there and just started spitting, and it was spitting foolishness.
I mentioned this before. We talked about this before about the fact that these media people don't add any context. They only talk about one side of what is occurring, and it's the side that they believe in, and not the whole story. Another thing, what I noticed first of all, I heard a comment that talked about LeBron. I thought this was great in the fact that when LeBron approached Stephen A, when he pressed him, his whole point was that, hey, it seems like you're making it personal. If this is between you and me, leave my son out of it. Don't talk about my son. If this is between you and me, leave him out of it. And I don't see a problem with that. I just think part of it is a communication problem. And then part of it is just guys are not, like Stephen A is just not listening. He doesn't want to listen to LeBron and what he's telling him why he's mad. He just feels like I'm going to keep harping on what you told me when you pressed me. LeBron is telling you exactly why he pressed you, and you still don't want to listen and call him a liar. Sometimes at the heat of the moment, we say things that doesn't entirely communicate our point. So what does LeBron do? He goes on Pat McAfee's show and tells you exactly why he's angry, why he doesn't like Stephen A's point. And Stephen A calls him a liar. It just blows my mind. But here's the thing: what LeBron did, and you know what this reminds me of? This reminds me of Kendrick Lamar last year. The whole beef with Drake, everything that transpired. What LeBron did was he drew a line in the sand. Essentially, he's like, at this point, the things that the media people are doing about being personal, not talking about the game, talking about everything outside of the game, we're not going to be okay with that going forward. He drew a line in the sand on that. He pretty much it was pretty much just watch the party die, essentially, where this is going to be unacceptable moving forward. This whole thing about being personal, taking shots at athletes when that's not basketball related. I think that's what LeBron is trying to do at this point. It's becoming bigger than just Stephen A and LeBron at this point. It's more so how the media is covering the game. And it reminds me so much of what happened with Kendrick Lamar and Drake in that sense. It's so funny how like a year ago it was Kendrick Drake beef, a 10-year sort of beef, and now LeBron and Stephen A. This was like brewing for over 10 years. It's just funny how we're in a new year and kind of similar situation. It's just in different genres of jurisdictions. And LeBron, he's just telling these media people, even Wendy, who weeks ago talked about how LeBron signed that Nike contract because of Michael Jordan when he was broke. He was in the hood. His mom was in the hood. And Nike was offering $90 million.
Exactly.
Why the hell wouldn't he take that contract?
Even Jordan would say, take the contract.
Why? And then LeBron literally said that, like, it was because of the money.
Yeah.
But regardless, he's drawing a line in the sand. He's telling these media people that this stuff that Stephen A. and all these people are doing, taking shots at athletes on their personal lives, is just not going to cut it.
Now, unless Wendy was coming from the perspective that he was able to get that contract because Michael Jordan set the precedent for shoe deals in the league, then that's a different discussion, because then he would be right if he tried to use that context. But here's what I think this really boils down to. At the end of the day, if you got your butt whooped in private, only you and the person that beat you know.
Okay.
But if you get whooped on camera, and it gets posted on all these social sites, now it stings a little more. Mm-hmm. That's what I think it boils down to. Stephen A. got embarrassed on camera in front of all these thousands, now millions of people that seen it. If it just would have had, if Braun would have gave him the same energy, the same word and everything, but like backstage where maybe only maybe 5 or so people saw it, and then you would only hear articles about it, it would not be this bad. He just got embarrassed.
It's like Drake and Kendrick. This is literally what Drake and Kendrick happened. This is what happens when you don't know how to take an L. This is the problem with America. This is the problem with society. It's okay to take an L. Don't try to make it worse. Just take the L and move on. Stephen A. did the right thing. He went on the show. The tone of his voice, he felt very apologetic in the tone of his voice. He felt like he didn't want to go any further with it, but then he just kept going further with it, and he started to take it further than what it needed to be. He said, "Man, he called it weak."
When on Gil's Arena.
Why would you say that? You see what I mean? Like stuff like that, where you're insulting this man when you didn't need to do that. Just go on your podcast, like you did.
And the thing,
address it, and that was that.
And the thing with Stephen A. is, you know what is weak, Stephen A.? How you gonna disrespect the man on national TV, question his fatherhood, but when he checks you in person on a much smaller scale, it just so happens someone was recording this interaction. Now all of a sudden, oh, you could have hit me up, we could have talked about. No. And where we from, or just that's a general rule in just society. If the disrespect was in public, we address it in public.
Yep.
So I don't know where you thought this was. So I don't know what you was thinking when you get the disrespect someone on a public platform and then try to piece it up behind the scenes. That ain't how it worked. What Stephen trying to piece it up?
I don't know.
Clutch trying to piece it up. No, they not.
He's going out like Drake right now. At this point, it seemed like he about to get the lawyers.
He gonna mess around and get banned from crypto at this rate.
You know what? And to my final point, I believe just the way that Stephen A is going, I think Stephen A might be on the way out of coverage sports.
Really? I don't think so. They gave him too much money.
You know why? After this contract ends or close to ends, they could always he can always get out of his contract. But I don't know the details.
You have 4 years on the contract.
But normally towards the end, it might be a possibility where you can get out of his contract.
The void years.
But let me tell you this. I think the way that it's going right now and just the public perception and criticism of Stephen A and the way that he's going about just criticizing LeBron and taking personal shots. A lot of these athletes are not going to like that. A lot of these, even former athletes, are coming out and criticizing Stephen A for what he has done. Some media people are even coming out and looking at Stephen A a different way. Nick Wright, for example, they were looking at him like, bro, what are you doing? So this is a crash out. This is a crash out because Stephen A is hurting his credibility because now when he talks about LeBron, we know that he doesn't like him. So I can't believe that he's being objective. That's one thing. And the relationship with the players.
And honestly, you could say the brand, ESPN brand as a whole.
Oh yeah. So here's my thing. I say that because if players are now going to stop wanting to be a part of any sort of relationship with you, and maybe some media people don't like what you're doing, and let's say First Take ratings could possibly go down. Because I believe a situation like this, they can have a ripple effect. I truly believe people look at, oh man, this is great, a publicity. Not always, because
maybe short term.
LeBron has so much power. A lot of people respect LeBron. That there could be a ripple effect. People might stop watching First Take because of this LeBron situation, because they're tired of Stephen A. They're tired of the way that he's covering these players. They're tired of the way he's talking about these players. We saw it with Skip Bayless. We saw how once Shannon Sharp left, Undisputed tanked.
Yep.
The only reason Stephen A and First Take are still getting numbers, it's not because of Stephen A. It's because of the people that he invites on his program. If you remember, when Max Kellerman got let go because of Stephen A, there was a time where First Take wasn't doing great numbers-wise. But then he started inviting people that people like. Ryan Clark, Mita Kimes, Marcus Spears, Mad Dog Russo, all these people. The only reason Stephen A and First Take are still prominent is because of those people. Then you have Richard Jefferson that's with LeBron. You have Shannon Fry that's with LeBron. You have all these different people, former players that are with LeBron. Something's going to happen. And the way that Stephen A is going with politics, I wouldn't be surprised if he changes genres to more so politics, because he's already doing that with his podcast. So just don't be surprised if maybe 3 years from now, Stephen A decides, you know what, I'm going to transition from sports to politics because a lot of the sports people aren't rocking with me anymore. How do you feel about that? What do you think?
Honestly, that definitely could be a possibility. I'm not gonna lie. That definitely is plausible. I wouldn't be surprised either, because he is making he's going on Fox News and stuff, which is another issue in itself. But this is a sports podcast. But yeah, honestly, that definitely could be an option he's probably exploring. So, man, forget this sports stuff. I'm going into politics.
And we've seen cases where sports analysts have transitioned to politics, especially on ESPN. I've seen instances where former ESPN employees,
Will Kane,
Will Kane and other people have gone to politics. So it's not out of proportion to think that Stephen A is going to make that full transition eventually, because he already said it was already reported in his contract, I believe, from front office sports that in his contract, they have it to where Stephen A won't have to appear as much on ESPN and that he can do more politics. So he's already trying to make that transition. I believe this is gearing up for him to eventually make that transition, especially after what has transpired with LeBron and how, especially Draymond has spoken out about it. Stephen A has mentioned that Draymond and him are not cool anymore. I believe there's going to be a bunch of more players that are not going to be cool with Stephen A.
And the younger players are just going to follow suit.
Yeah, because what did Patrick Beverley say about LeBron? He said during the bubble, we looked at LeBron James as the gold standard. He was the captain of it all, and we respect him so much that his word is one to everybody else.
He's like the Undertaker of the NBA.
It's a great analogy. Yes, whatever he wants to do, we're gonna do. If he wants to play, we're gonna play. If we're going to sit out, we're gonna sit out. He's the guy that controls it all because the players respect him the most. And for Stephen A to said that, hey, when you retire, you're pretty much going to be irrelevant. I'm still going to be here. It's just ridiculous. It's just ridiculous. And for Brian Windhorst to say that LeBron isn't going to be successful in only creating just a production
that's strictly about the X's and O's
of basketball. He's wrong because Mind the Game
have a million views like every episode.
Million views every episode. He's wrong about that. So,
and then he's going to have different people coming on too, so people definitely want to tune in.
Oh yeah, and oh my God, that reminds me. The last thing, and then we're gonna end it all. Kendrick Perkins bringing up the race car.
We did?
Yes, he did this 2 years ago when JJ Redick was on First Take.
Oh, he said why he ain't going there. Oh yeah,
about the MVP debate with Nikola Jokic. Now he did it with LeBron, where he was like, "Why didn't you invite Richard Jefferson? Why didn't you invite Shannon Fry on Mind the Game?" And then guess what Richard Jefferson and Shannon Fry did? Well, they went on our podcast in recent years before, so.
LeBron was hosting his own podcast centered around Black culture. The Shop. He was hosting his own jump.
So here he goes, trying to play the race card again. And we don't know their schedules. You don't know their schedules. They could be busy. And why are you questioning him bringing in a Hall of Fame point guard, one of the best point guards, one of the most brilliant minds we've ever seen, and a former coach in the NBA? What's the problem with him bringing in Steve Nash? Oh, because he's white? It just baffles me. It's just stupid. It's just this is people that are on television. But regardless, is there anything else we missed you want to talk about? It was a lot of heavy stuff that we talked about today, but yeah.
Nope. Not no NBA. Nope. We've covered a lot of stuff.
Yeah, we did. Woo. Yeah, man. Hopefully next week we can get back to normal and we can just talk about the games. But my God. Anywho, thank you guys for watching. Make sure to like, subscribe, comment down below, hit the notification bell, follow the socials. Check out our other podcasts, our main channel, Courtside View Podcast, NFL. Link will be in the description. Check out our full podcast series. And we'll see you all on the next episode. Thank you guys for watching. Peace.
Salute.
Just let me be me.